You're listening to Catholic Chicago. Ahead, the Archdiocese of Chicago brings you programs about the people, events, and issues that touch our lives. Welcome to Catholic Chicago.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining our program here this morning. This is Bob Gilligan of the Catholic Conference of Illinois on this hopefully beautiful day on the Feast of the Assumption, the 15th of August. Today's program is being recorded. Actually, we are here, what is today? I think it's Wednesday. So today's program is recorded. So thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. We have a couple very interesting topics on the docket today. And so what we try to do on this program is the Catholic Conference follows a number of different public policy topics, both at the state and federal level. And we try to provide you, the viewer, the listener, with a review of what's going on with those issues, and hopefully to get you engaged and activated and motivated to call or write your lawmaker about some of the topics we're going to talk about today. I'll just go over the lineup here this morning, if you will, to use a baseball analogy here in the thick of summer. Today's program, what we're going to do, we'll have three segments. We'll start off talking with a recipient of the Scholarship Tax Credit program. Her name is Britta Krebs, and she resides in Champaign, and she's going to tell her story and why the tax credit scholarship is so important to her and many others as well. Then we're going to stay sort of in the central part of the state. We're going to talk to Carlos Tejada. He is formerly with the Diocese of Springfield, and he was the person on staff that dealt with marriage and family issues. And he recently left, and he started a very interesting organization. He co-founded a group called Mercy Tree Adventures. And he's going to talk to us a little bit about the importance of marriage in our society and our culture, and what he's been up to since he's left the diocese. And then finally, at the third part of the show, at about should be about 11:40, we're going to talk to Patrick Cacchione. He is the director of the Illinois Catholic Healthcare Association, and he's going to come on the air to talk to us about the short title is the Section 1157 regulations. But in English, what that means is that the Biden administration has proposed a set of rules and a set of policies that are very challenging for our Catholic ministries, and they are coercing them to do things against our faith and against our conscience. And so Patrick's going to talk to us a little bit about what's in those regulations, why we should be concerned, and about what our response will be to them. So that's our lineup for today. Like I said, we're going to do a little bit of the legislature is not in session right now. They are on a break. They're out trying to get reelected. They'll come back sometime in November. And I think one of the topics we might be dealing with in November when they come back for the veto session is the extension of the Scholarship Tax Credit program. And the challenge we're going to have is that program is due to sunset in law, so it goes away unless the legislature acts, and they have to act sometime in the year 2023 or sooner in 2022. And so it's our intention to do everything we can to advocate for continuation of that program. So what we'll do now is we'll bring in Britta and talk to us about that program and why it is so important to people like her and others. Britta, are you with us?
I am. Good morning.
Good morning. I can't see you. Now I can see you. How are you? Now I can see you and hear
Good.
you. Great. Thanks for taking some time to join us this morning. I understand you're in Champaign, Illinois, which is in the central part of the state, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So I talked in the lead-in a little bit about the Scholarship Tax Credit program. We are going to be very engaged in and trying to change the law so this program doesn't sunset, so it doesn't go away. When it was passed back in 2017, the legislature said it was a pilot program, and it has a 5-year lifespan, and that's due to end in 2023. So what we'll be doing is we'll be going down there and advocating for continuation of the program. But I think, you and others are obviously the best spokespeople we have for this program. Tell us a little about your story, how you came to find about the tax credit scholarship, and what it's meant to you and your family, about your desire to send children to a school of your choice.
Sure. So we have 9 children ranging in age from 18 down to 4
Wow, God bless you.
right now. So we have, thank you. We are very blessed. We have a little guy in heaven too. We don't have to worry about paying for his education because he's where he needs to be. But our oldest will start college this fall, and she was the first recipient in our family for Empower when she started high school. It was on our hearts that we wanted her to go to the Catholic high school in our community, but we knew that cost was going to be prohibitive to our family. I was still a stay-at-home mom to the younger ones. I was actually still homeschooling some of them even, and some of them are in another local Catholic school. But we really wanted that smaller Catholic option for Grace. That's our oldest. But the program was about a year old when we applied for the first time. And we are so grateful since then. Our kids have been recipients as they've entered into Catholic schools. So as of right now, with her going to college, we have 7 out of our 8 that are at home still who are Empower recipients for this coming school year.
Great. And
we will have 3 at the local Catholic high school, and 4 of those will be at the grade school with me. And then I also have a younger one who's a pre-K. Empower doesn't cover pre-K because it's not mandatory by the state.
Right. So prior to the enactment of the scholarship tax credit program in 2017, were your children in a Catholic school, or were they in the public school or homeschooled, or where were they?
But so they were a mixture of in a private Catholic high school private Catholic school, and also I was homeschooling some of them. All of them are now in a Catholic school. I stopped homeschooling in 2019 because God put it on my heart to then take my teaching skills to the school. So I'm a teacher's aide.
Oh, wow.
At the younger kids' school in town. But when we were trying to figure out what was next for Grace, we really didn't think that homeschooling her in particular was the right option, but we didn't really like our other school options. But we really didn't think we could afford the Catholic high school. So we were kind of in a stalling point, kind of at a crossroads. What are we going to do? How are we going to manage this for her and make the best choice for her? And we felt like whatever choice we made for her, we needed to be able to make it for the other ones as well. And then we found out about the tax credit scholarship through Empower Illinois, and we jumped in on the process.
How did you find out about the program?
Actually, through the grade school where my kids were attending at the time, they had received information and disseminated that to us. It was in the bulletin. And then just in conversations, a really tiny school, that one that we used to go to in a tiny town.
How was the application process?
At the start, so back when we first applied for Grace, it was slightly more complicated than it is now. It is really a breeze now, honestly. From
the
my
first year is always the hardest.
Yes, getting through those glitches, the internet crashing and those kind of things, but that all worked itself out. And I feel like it's been so easy since, particularly, they store information. So I'm not entering like demographic information all the time every year for 9 children or whatever. So as a mom who likes to use her time wisely, that is really beneficial to me. The way they do it now, you go in and you do the initial process and you get your timestamp, and then they send you your email link. It's really self-explanatory in the sense that the instructions are easy to follow, and they have a helpline that's accessible. I believe it's Monday through Friday.
It's and the website is very accommodating as well.
Yes,
I both from the donation standpoint. I just did it recently, and I can't speak to the application process, but the donation side is very helpful. There's videos on there, so they make it as easy as possible. So you have a number of kids, and so I mean, tell us a little bit about like if the program is not extended, what happens to your your children? Do they? What would you do?
What would I do? Well, I am an Easter Christian. I'm full of hope. So I hope it doesn't sunset and not come back. But I'm not sure what we're going to do, actually. We have dabbled in the public school system for high school for a very short time last year for one of our sons. And it was not for our family an ideal situation for what our son wanted for a small community where he could freely be the Catholic young man that he is. It wasn't viable for him. And I foresee that as not being viable for my other children as well. So we're not sure what we're going to do. It's Empower Illinois and the tax credit scholarship through them have been able to make it possible for our kids to go, for us to be able to choose the school for them. So it's going to be difficult if this doesn't go through, and not just for us, lots of friends and acquaintances around here and across the state who will really be at a crossroads trying to decide what's best. And I really don't want money to ever have to be that decisive factor for our children to get the schooling that they want and that we want for them. I think every parent out here, every parent living and listening to this wants what's best for their children and be able to help them get there.
Britta, we have to take a quick break. If you could just hold on, we'll come back. I have another question or two for you. We're talking to Britta. Is it Krebs? Is that pronounced correctly?
Yes.
I'm close. Krebs. Britta is a mom of 7 children who are on the Scholarship Tax Credit Program. Let's take a quick break here. We'll come back and wrap up this segment. I have another question or two for you. This is Bob Gilligan of the Catholic Conference of Illinois, and we'll be right back.
Catholic Charities' Refugee Resettlement Program has been especially busy this year, assisting individuals and families who have fled dangerous situations in their homeland, including Afghanistan and the Ukraine. The Refugee Resettlement Team helps with everything they need to start to rebuild their lives in a new country, including housing, employment, clothing, food, English classes, and referrals for legal and immigration services. The refugees are tremendously grateful for the compassion and practical help they're receiving, and they're giving back and helping each other plan for a brighter, safer future. Volunteer opportunities are currently available for those who would like to be family mentors and tutors so children and adults can practice English. To learn more about these rewarding opportunities, call 312-655-7096. That's 312-655-7096.
People always say, how can you spend your day with 3-year-olds? Seeing the changes that they go through and just the journey and how they grow, this is a very rewarding job. Even though at the end of the day, we're not the highest paid people on earth. And when I have a parent contact me and say, my child loves school, that to me, I'm setting that foundation for their love of learning. Because really, you are changing lives. You are molding lives.
Shape the next generation of leaders. Teach. Apply today at archchicago.org/schooljobs.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Bob Gilligan of the Catholic Conference of Illinois, and thanks for listening and watching our show here today on YouTube and other outlets as well. We're talking to Britta Krebs. She's a parent of 7 school children down in the Champaign area who has been very fortunate enough to receive the scholarship tax credit for her children. And she was just talking before the break about how it's made a real impact on your family life and enabled you to go back and work a little bit in addition to while the children are in school. Brett, I'm curious, tell us a little bit about, have you noticed any impact on the school that your children are attending, the Catholic school? Are there more kids in the school? Is it a more vibrant community, or has it pretty much been the same?
That's a good question. I haven't actually thought about it like that before, but I would say since we've started these schools, and I guess we've been recipients at 3 different schools,
yeah,
and now just 2. I think that it broadens the population that can come to the school. It brings a little bit of diversity to the schools that may not have existed before. And I think when the program is renewed in the spring, that it will increase that diversity, hopefully draw people that are unsure about continuing the Catholic education or choosing Catholic education to start. I think that it will encourage them to do so. That's what I'm hoping.
Well, we are too, and I would even broaden it beyond Catholic education, because the scholarship applies to any non-public school.
Absolutely.
So, we've seen examples up here in the Chicagoland area of schools becoming more diverse ethnically, attracting Muslim students, African American kids, Hispanic kids, more so than were able to go in the past. And I know that some people have remarked about how that is really kind of an added unintended consequence of this program that people didn't anticipate. And it's nice to see that, because I think that's the point of this, is we're trying to provide an educational opportunities to families who currently couldn't afford it or weren't aware of it or whatever. And because they have that opportunity now, I think it's enriched not only, I hope, their lives, but the school life as well. So it's been kind of a double win, positive, I think, in that sense. I hope. Right. Yeah.
I think it brings that diversity that makes the world go round. Honestly, we need a little bit of everybody to make it happen.
Yeah, it's good. I think the kids learn from people that have different backgrounds from them and that kind of thing. And so it is a real nice thing to see. And we've seen that up here a lot. And we hope to be able to continue that. One final thought. I don't know, do you have any message for lawmakers? I know you're probably going to be involved with the advocacy, talking to senators and reps. I don't know what part of Champaign you're in, but you have a particularly tough state senator that's not a fan of this program. So we're going to put you to work. But is there any message that you have in particular for lawmakers?
I think at the end of the day, they need to remember that it's about the kids and what's best for them and their families, and being able to choose the right educational community that fits them and will help them grow and be the best version of themselves.
Yep, that's exactly the message. I'm with you, Britta. I'm cautiously optimistic about our chances of continuing this program. I think we're going to have a lot of people like you and your children that are getting the scholarship down in Springfield, or not even maybe physically going to Springfield, but talking to lawmakers in their districts, making sure that they know there's people in the community that are benefiting from this program. As you just indicated, we'll also have the schools there indicating that they're benefiting from the program, the intangible ways that I've just mentioned. And then hopefully, I think we'll see the requisite number of votes to continue the program. It has challenges. It has problems. It's not the perfect program. As you indicated, the application process the first time out can be difficult. For donors, the application process can be difficult the first time. Those are all surmountable problems. They're challenges that we will have. And I know that there's some other problems with the program as the law exists. And I think those can be addressed in due time. But I think our focus is going to be like a laser beam this session, which is to extend the scholarship tax credit program indefinitely. I was at dinner last night with some of my colleagues, and it was interesting. Somebody said, it was a pilot program. The pilot worked. What's the problem? Let's do this.
Mm.
So hopefully. Any other final
Exactly.
Yeah. Any other final thoughts from you? Thank you so much.
No, I just like to think about it. I thought, we didn't really talk about donors very much, but I love the math. You give $1,000 to the tax credit scholarship, you get $750 back. So
Yeah.
you're only spending $250 on a $1,000 donation.
Yeah.
It's simple math. Help the kids. The kids are the future.
And it's a real nice.
So let's make it easy for them.
And it's a real nice bonus when you file your taxes and you get your tax return back. That's the best part.
Yeah,
of it.
Exactly.
Britta, thanks so much.
So-
You've been fantastic. We're going to use some of this interview,
Yes,
I
thank
hope.
you.
And I hope to see you soon down in Springfield.
Yes, the Krebs family will be full and strong.
Good. You got an army there. Thanks.
Yes, we do.
Britta Krebs from
Thank you.
Champaign, talking a little bit about the tax credit scholarship program. Don't go away. We're right back. We're going to switch gears a little bit, but we'll stay in the central part of the state. We're going to be talking to Carlos Tejada. He is the founder of something called Marriage. It's called the Mercy Tree Adventures. Let's hear from Carlos. He can barely articulate what it's about more than I can. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Do you have an old bicycle that's not being used? Consider donating it to Catholic Charities Veterans Bike Project of Lake County. Skilled volunteers are refurbishing bicycles to make them safe and ready to be used by veterans to get to and from their new places of work. We also gratefully accept financial contributions that are used to purchase bike helmets and other safety accessories. Our veterans have faithfully served the United States, and now it is our privilege to serve them. For more information on the Veterans Bike Project of Lake County, call 847-782-4219. That's 847-782-4219.
I am a seminarian.
The church needs compassionate and well-trained priests to help guide each of us through life.
What inspires me, what draws me always to the priesthood is continue to see priests be a beacon of hope for other people.
You can play a part in the education of these young men as they prepare for a life of service to others.
I want to be that beacon of hope too, and it sets my heart on fire.
To support our seminarians, make your gift at archchicago.org/seminarian fund or call 312-534-7959.
At Catholic Charities, we want to remind you that we are here for anyone who is a victim of domestic violence or anyone who has a concern about someone they think may be a victim. Domestic violence affects millions of people each year, both women and men, of every race, religion, culture, and economic status. It includes physical, psychological, and emotional abuse, inflicted in both subtle and overt ways. The impact on children can be devastating. If you or someone you know are victims of domestic violence and you are looking for a place for healing and recovery, call us at 773-935-3434 in Cook County and 224-430-4977 in Lake County. A safer, happier tomorrow can begin today.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Bob Gilligan of the Catholic Conference of Illinois, and thank you for listening or viewing our program here today. It is the Feast of the Assumption, the 15th of August, but unfortunately we had to tape this program earlier, so we are not live, but nevertheless, still quality radio and video, I say. So with us on the line right now, we have Carlos Tejada. He is the founder of something called the Mercy Tree Adventures, and we're going to talk to Carlos a little bit about that and also about the importance of marriage in our culture. Unfortunately, Carlos can't be with us on the video screen because I think he's out doing his job somewhere. So, Carlos, can you hear me?
I can. Thanks so much, Bob.
Thank you. Well, we can see your bright, shining face on the video screen here, so we can find out what you look like, but we can't see you live. Nevertheless, we'll forge ahead. Carlos, tell us a little bit about what Mercy Tree Adventures is.
Yeah, thanks so much. We strive to bring sacred scripture alive through adventuresome activities. We believe that the grace that's available to us in God's life through the sacraments requires kind of doubling down or being more attentive to the realities of what God has built into nature, not meaning just simply trees and that sort of thing, but like families eating meals together, if we're going to understand the Eucharistic banquet and feast that the Lord gives us. And so, yeah, we're striving to create activities that appeal particularly to men and their families, because in a lot of ways that seems to be the bottleneck in order to reach families with the gospel, is the degree to which the husband and father is sort of bought in or attentive to what the Lord is doing.
So you were the coordinator for marriage activities in the Diocese of Springfield, and what led you to this adventure that you're doing now? Because it makes sense to me, but it is a different charism. It is a different ministry.
Sure, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I would say after 11 and a half years, really time and time again coming up against this dynamic of we can offer retreats and the things that are good and solid and important and definitely have a place. But the limiting factor, or like the missing common denominator, was the active participation of men, specifically actively parenting fathers and husbands. So we're really, that's what Mercy Tree Adventures is really striving to do, is earn the attention and respect and trust of actively parenting dads, so that they can lead their families closer to the Lord.
So how does one find out about Mercy Tree?
Yeah, we'd be honored for them to go to the website, which is mercytreeadventures.org, and they can send a message there, or there's a phone number, and it'd be an honor to connect with anybody.
And tell us how you work. So if I wanted to be a participant in Mercy Tree, I sign up, and what happens after that?
Yeah, well, we'll listen first to see what the goals of maybe your Knights of Columbus Council or your parish school or a private school or a parish or a retreat center, wherever you might be calling from. We'll listen to your goals and hopes for partnering with us, and really we'll custom make something that hopefully will achieve those goals and collaborate with you. And we're not looking to be like a flash in the pan, or we certainly don't conceive of ourselves as a silver bullet. We're really looking forward to partnering with really kind of a small number of locations and really going deep with them and being like this ready-made multiplier effect for them and their staff, their volunteers, to be like a disproportionate investment for them to really leverage the resources that they have to produce abundant fruit for the people.
So what does one do? What are the activities that they engage in at Mercy Tree?
Yeah. Well, here again, we really pride ourselves in thinking outside the box and developing whatever might be needed at a particular community. But some of the things that we have done in the past, in addition to our bread and butter of recreational tree climbing, which is using the same gear that arborists do to safely climb inspected trees. Things like geocaching, which is using GPS coordinates to find hidden things out in the world, sort of like a scavenger or a progressive scavenger hunt. We do go-kart racing, jet ski travels combined with geocaching, combined with tree climbing. So all sorts of things. Where there's a will, there's a way, we figure.
So do you go to a group, or do they come to you, or both?
Yeah. Here again, we think it's really important that places that we're partnering with can offer something to their people that is local, affordable, and quote-unquote brief. So a lot of times, and there's certainly a place for it, a weekend away or something like that. But what we're striving to offer is something close geographically to where people are, like an afternoon or a day.
Got it.
And affordable for families that are, particularly in today's economy, really trying to make ends meet.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. We got to take a break, but I want to hear this, and then we're going to jump to something after the break. So tell us about yourself. While you were working at the diocese, you have a background in is it arborist? Are you an arborist? Is that how you pronounce it? You have a background in this area as well.
Yeah. My undergraduate degree is in forest science from the University of Wisconsin-Madison. And I worked for the Forest Service as a wildland firefighter for a season and a bit out in Oregon State. It was amazing. Prior to that, I was in the United States Army. This was before September 11th. And then after being in the Forest Service, I was an arborist in California and Wisconsin. And then I went to grad school and got my degree in theology and worked for the diocese for 11 and a half years. And so now it feels very much like the culmination or the integration of all these different parts of my life now with Mercy Tree Adventures. And my wife is the co-founder, Elena. There's no way Mercy Tree Adventures would exist without her for lots of different reasons. But I'm so excited to be ministering with her in a more direct way, and our kids as well.
So, Carlos, you said that, I think if I heard you correctly, you said that one of the problems today is the lack of participation from males in the family structure.
Yeah.
Is that true? Is that what you're finding? And do you think this is one of the things that is lacking in society?
Well, yeah, I think it's like a lot of things. I think there's a danger of oversimplifying or painting in too much of a caricature kind of way the complex dynamics. But yes, I would say a father actively leading the charge and saying, honey, like, this is the mass we're going to go to, or this is how we're going to make sure Johnny and Susie are ready for First Communion or confirmation. That's a pretty rare thing. I think in a lot of homes, the father is concerned with providing, and that can be all-consuming. Providing, physical provision, shelter, food, insurance, those kinds of things, and there really just isn't a lot of left for his bandwidth at the end of the day, and so it's understandable, but it's definitely not what the wife is longing for, and it's definitely not what the children really are longing for or need either. So we really want to equip the dads to to have a different paradigm in their daily life.
I think what you're trying to do is make families stronger, in essence. It sounds to me like you're probably starting, in most cases, from an engaged family, whereas I think one of the bigger problems we have is that there is no family. What actually called us, what made us look for you, the segment we were going to do here is to talk a little bit about the legislation that's pending in Congress about the respect, I think they call it Respect for Marriage Act. And in essence, what they want to do is to codify same-gender marriages as the Obergefell decision had done. And then because we knew you were so involved with family and marriage life in the diocese, we thought you would be a good person to talk to about that legislation. And I know that's what you were involved with in the past, but it seems like now you're trying to do sort of more direct ministry to people to bolster family life, in essence.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's sort of like heading upstream in a sense. Depends on how you slice it, but the hope is, that whatever comes down the pipeline and whatever culture transpires over time, a man that's in intimate relationship with Jesus and the sacraments and the church will be able to not just lead his family, but his community and our culture, our state, in the direction that it needs to go, with whatever confusion might be arising in the culture.
There's a lot of confusion. And what I would like to do is, while I have you on, and if you want to make a comment about this, you're more than welcome to do, but I did want to call attention to the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops has asked us to do what we can, and we've sent out some action alerts about legislation that's pending in Congress that would codify, in essence, the Supreme Court decision that came down a couple of years ago in terms of what it's called Obergefell, which makes same-gender marriages the equivalent of what we've had with traditional marriage for years. That legislation has some problems that the Church is trying to communicate to lawmakers throughout the United States, and we're concerned that it already has passed the House, and now it's waiting for action in the Senate. And I'm told that the Majority Leader, Chuck Schumer from New York, has scheduled that for a vote, I think maybe in September after they come back from their recess, if they ever get on recess. I'm not sure if you're following that legislation at all, if you have a comment about it, or if you want to say anything about it, or if you feel comfortable talking about that.
Yeah, I'm afraid I have not been following it.
Yeah, so if we could, then the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops has an action alert that they've put out, and they're asking for phone calls to get in. This is now past the House, and now it's going to be in the Senate. And so we're asking people if they could call Senator Duckworth or Senator Durbin, and recognizing that it's going to be difficult, but I still think they want to try to get us people on record to communicate to them that there are enough people concerned about this legislation that's pending to Congress. We're trying to get that up on the screen right now. We not be able to do so in the short minutes we have left. Anything else, Carlos? So it seems like it's going pretty well. How long have you been at this?
Yeah, so my last day at the Pastoral Center was the end of March, so it's been since April. Good.
And so you're getting enough clients and people trying to get you to climb trees for them?
Yeah, it's ramping up. We've been to Michigan, Kansas. We'll be going to Wisconsin. We're going to California, so maybe Hawaii. So
terrific. Good. Well, God bless you and your work, and hope you're successful in what you're setting out to do. It's a different type of ministry, but definitely one that's definitely needed. Carlos, thanks for taking some time to join us.
Thank you so much, Bob.
Great. It's good to talk to you again. This is Bob Gilligan of the Catholic Conference of Illinois. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Coming back up at 11:40 will be Patrick Cacchione. He's going to talk to us about some regulations pending from the Biden administration that the Illinois Catholic Healthcare Association is very much concerned with. This is Bob Gilligan of the Catholic Conference. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
We are hiring. Catholic Charities of the Archdiocese of Chicago is looking for mission-driven individuals who want to help make a positive difference in the lives of people in need throughout Cook and Lake counties. Be part of a diverse, talented team of professionals in the largest human services organization in the Midwest. We are dedicated to helping people chart a more stable, happier future for themselves, and we accompany anyone in need, regardless of faith, gender, race, or ethnicity. Competitive salaries and generous benefits add to the satisfaction you'll have every day knowing that you're helping us amplify our impact in Chicago. To see our list of employment opportunities, visit CatholicCharities.net.
I feel special. I feel great. I got good grades.
We've seen a huge surge in our kids now meeting or exceeding grade level. Come check us out. You may have never thought we were an option before.
Our school communities provide students with academic excellence and character education in a supportive and stable learning environment. Come see for yourself. Visit archchicago.org/findaschool.
Welcome back, everybody, and thanks to Carlos Tejada for joining us, as well as Britta Krebs, who is the parent of the children that are receiving the tax credit scholarship. Now, our third guest is on the line with us, we think. He is Patrick Cacchione. He is the executive director of the Illinois Catholic Healthcare Association, talking to us a little bit about the regulations that the Biden administration has put out recently that may affect, will affect our Catholic hospitals and our Catholic ministries. Patrick, you with us? There he is.
Yeah, Bob.
There he is. Good
Can
morning.
you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you just fine. Good morning or good afternoon, I should say, whichever it is. But you know what? This program's being taped, so it's not relevant. So thanks for taking some time to join us this morning and talk a little bit about the regulations that just came out. Tell us a little bit about what's going on. It's section, people will be hearing these numbers, section 1557. It's kind of fancy talk for a rule, and not a law, that's being put forth by the executive branch, by the Biden administration, that impacts how hospitals operate. So I think people need to understand there's both laws that we follow, that Congress generates or the state legislature, but there's also administrative rules that the agencies come out with. So tell us a little bit about 1557 and why we should care.
Okay. Well, let me start with a little background.
Yeah.
You're right. We refer to it as Section 1557. What that means is this goes back to the Affordable Care Act under the Obama administration. In the Affordable Care Act, there's Title I, Section 1557. So within that law, this is the section that we're dealing with now, and it deals with discrimination in healthcare. You may remember, your listeners may remember, back then there was the contraception mandate that we had to provide it. We had to have it in our insurance policies and things of that nature. What the Biden administration is doing is expanding Section 1557. As I said, it deals with discrimination, but traditionally that is race, color, national origin, sex, age, and disability. They're expanding that to sexual orientation and gender. So they're expanding who this applies to. And basically what we're talking about is transgendered individuals. So within that, after the Obama administration, obviously then we had the Trump administration, and they came in and strengthened Section 1557 for religious liberty purposes, really around the Religious Freedom and Restoration Act, RFRA, as we refer to. So they came in and strengthened that, again, because of the contraception mandate. And now we have a new administration, and just about 10 days ago, they came up with a draft regulation doing away with many of the protections that the Trump administration had put in place. And they're looking for comments. But basically what it's doing is, just like with the contraception mandate, this applies to all healthcare procedures, not just the contraception mandate, all healthcare procedures that fall under Medicare and Medicaid. So it has to be let's just simplify it. What they're really trying to get at is transgendered individuals and discrimination against them. So they're saying not just hospitals, but anyone with a health plan would have to cover transgender surgery and anything related to transgender, even to adolescents and hormonal blockers or surgery on adolescents. So the insurance has to cover it. You as a hospital have to provide it. You as a doctor or an individual nurse have to participate in it. So there's no, they claim that they're maintaining the religious freedom protections, but then they go on to say, but we're going to review those on a case-by-case basis. So if you have an objection, you let us know, and we'll let you know on a case-by-case basis whether it meets the religious freedom or not, which is unacceptable to us. I think that's probably a good background for where we are.
It seems that the number and frequency of these types of proposals that are generated to they're interesting because the terms they use, like, discrimination and that kind of thing, are generally things that people don't want to be associated with. They don't want to be associated with discriminating against something. But it just seems like there's more of these types of proposals when they come out. They have no concern about people who have sincerely held religious beliefs and don't think that they should be forced by the government to do these things. And it just seems like this has happened more frequently, more strongly, and it puts Catholic healthcare in particular in a position of talking about things that we don't do, as opposed to the many things that we do. It just puts Catholic healthcare on its heels. Is that accurate? Or it seems like we just have a lot of these things. More.
Yeah. But let me go back to that question of discrimination. We don't discriminate. If someone comes to us, if they're transgendered, okay, let's say it's a female that's transitioning to a male, and he wants to be called Joe, let's say, then we honor that. We respect the dignity of the individual. If someone says, this is who I am, this is how I want to be addressed. We accept that for who they are and what they say they are. But it gets more complicated when they then require or request surgery, hysterectomy, or something of that nature to transition. Then we obviously can't go there, and it's not because they're transgender. We don't do this for heterosexual individuals,
right?
So it's not. We're not discriminating. We're saying we don't do it. We can't do it, and furthermore, we think that the science is not out yet, especially on adolescents.
Sure.
We think, first do no harm, and we don't know what these hormonal blockers are going to do in the long run. We also think that someone that is transitioning needs more than just sort of a physical change. We think there's a psychological component and other things that are related to this that are deeper that we're not in a position to address as a Catholic hospital. And the other thing I would say is, many people come to us and ask for, we don't, no hospital, whether Catholic, secular, for-profit, not-for-profit, offers every possible healthcare intervention. We just don't. We can't do a heart transplant for every individual.
Right. There's
we don't have
very
few.
Yeah.
Right. So to say that we're discriminating, what we're really saying is we don't do it. And we don't do it for our religious reasons, but also we don't do it because we don't have the expertise in that area. So we don't see it as a form of discrimination. I think the reverse is if you force someone to do something that they find objectionable, that's the coercion. That's discriminating against the religious entity, in my view.
Yeah, once upon a time in America, we had a liberal democracy, which meant limited government. But it seems like those days that ship has sailed.
Well, let me, as an example, I've been in Catholic healthcare for 30 years. When I started this, it was understood that Catholic hospitals didn't do certain things. We didn't do abortions, and there was a live and let live. It was, we understand you don't do it. I mean, we're going to, the court case came out in 73 and it's legal, but we understand you don't do it. And we lived that way for a long time until I would say, the last 10 years, it's now switched to, we know you don't do it, but now you have to do it. You have to participate. And that's the difference.
Yeah. Do you think some of this has been fueled by the Supreme Court decision called Bostock, which was an interesting decision that Judge Gorsuch was the lead author on, and he does make some wiggle room there for discrimination, that sexual orientation should not be discriminated against. And I wonder if this is kind of a continuation of that logic that he put forth in that decision.
Well, in reading the draft regulation, yes, they rely on that case.
They do.
Very heavily. But I want to reiterate, we're not discriminating against an individual. These things, if someone wants to transition surgically, it's available. We don't do it, but there's others that do it. We're not discriminating against you. As I said, we honor them and recognize their individual dignity to a point. But then there's a point where we just can't go.
Yeah, sure.
So you could say, as Gorsuch said, that it's discrimination, but we also have religious freedom in the Restoration Act that protects us from having to do something that we find objectionable.
Yep.
So, they do fall on that quite heavily, but I don't think it fits, especially when you put the overlay of religious freedom there.
So,
again, they give lip service to the religious freedom, saying, "Well, we recognize it, but you have to basically apply for your own conscience." And we're not going to do that.
So we have 30 days, 60 days to respond to this. I'm pretty confident that the Catholic Healthcare Association will put some comments forth to the Department of Health and Human Services. The Catholic Conference is looking at it as well, our organization. And then from there, what happens? We send our comments in, HHS looks at it, and what do? They take them, they leave them, we have a new product.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to see much change. And it's not just them. Anytime you do a regulatory change, you have to put it out for comment. And the Trump administration had to do it when they changed it in 2016 or 2019. And they took comments, and it didn't change much they didn't change it much. They kept the religious protections there. I don't anticipate the Biden administration saying, "Oh yeah, you're right." There was one thing that is possible in there. In the regulations, they exclude abortion at this time. What they say is, at this time we're not including it, but we'd like your thoughts on how we can include it and how we could use a broader term of pregnancy-related services rather than abortion. So the change, I fear, is they're looking to insert, it's not in there now, but they say, we would like to put it in there. Let us know how we can do it. Mm-hmm. That's a change that I think we should be really worried about.
Okay. So, and then I would take it, once those rules get promulgated, it's probably off to the courthouse again, and there'll probably be lawsuits just like there were under Obamacare, and we'll probably go through this same gyration again. And that's
my guess. Just for your listeners, we have 60 days to comment. They'll read the comments. It'll take them time to go through that. They'll come out with a final rule, and then a implementation date.
Yeah,
because there has to be time from the final rule so people can adjust to the new rule. There'll be an implementation date, and after that, once you have an implementation date, yes, you're right. It's going to end up in the courts.
I feel pretty good about our chances in court, though. I mean, it's going to be painful, but that's probably where this is going to go. But we'll do our due diligence. I think right now, it's incumbent upon us just to talk about it, get the word out. We're on top of it. We'll be issuing comments, but in all likelihood, I think that's probably back to where we were the last time, and that's just the way we seem to roll these days. Patrick, thanks for taking so much time. Very good explanation. I got it. I actually took notes on what you were saying, so now I think I understand it a little bit better. It's like these things I have to sort of remind myself from time to time about the details of them. Thanks for taking some time to join us, and have a good rest of the week.
Thanks, Bob.
This is Bob Gilligan of the Catholic Conference of Illinois. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching our show today. It is the month of August. We'll be back in September with another show with 3 different topics. I can tell you we probably will most likely looking at what happened. We'll probably try to unpack a little bit what happened in Kansas with the big vote there. Come September, it'll be election time. So we'll take a look at what we have going on with the governor's race. We don't a Senate race. We do have a Senate race in Illinois, and some of the various congressional races and state legislative races throughout the state to kind of get a temperature on what that's going on. And there we go. We'll be back. Hopefully, there's talk about calling a special session in Springfield in September, but we haven't heard much about that. Possibly on the topics of assault weapons ban, which we are looking at, trying to figure out what our position would be on that legislation, as well as the governor's announcement that he wants to do more on abortion. But we don't know what that is specifically yet, but we'll be looking at that. So with that said, this is Bob Gilligan of the Catholic Conference of Illinois. Thanks, everybody, once again for listening, and thanks for watching. We'll be back on the 3rd Monday in the month of September. Oh, no, it's almost fall. Thanks. Have a good day.
Join us every Monday through Friday at this time for Catholic Chicago. You can stream our programs live or listen to past programs by visiting our website, archchicago.org, and clicking on Radio TV. And please connect with Catholic Chicago on social media.